Just start with an observation in the form of a verse. Nomesho nipunas suhrit parishadapyesha gunagrahini loke haricha bharatiya charitam khyane cha dakshavayam vastvekaikamapih vanchita phala prapte phalam kim punaha madbhagyopachayadayam samuditaha sarvo gunanam ganaha. Basically, the feeling that I had is partially taken from another verse. So, nomesho nipunas suhrit. Nipuna is very talented. Suhrit is someone who believes the well-being of all persons. So he is a friend. I don't want to praise him. Marishadapyesha gunagrahini. This is again very important. Yam parishat. So stalwarts here. Gunagrahini. They are able to grasp the essence. So that is something which is very delightful to notice. And loke haricha bharatiya charitam. So all of us are deeply inspired by that. Start from Rajvedam or Mishra or Ram Gupta ji. Haricha, this is something which is, so what made Sri Ram Gupta come to the stage? It is just a blurt out, right? The feeling that I have been kept ignorant for 50 years of my life. So that is the passion which made him jump to the stage and then share his feeling. And this is the same feeling that is being felt by most of us, including me. I got an opportunity to learn Sanskrit and Veda from my parents, but I had absolutely no opportunity till I completed my MSc to learn about the name of Aryabhatta and Bhaskaracharya. See, this is the stage in which we are. That is the passion. Loke haricha bharatiya charitam khyane cha dakshavayam. Khyanam is basically sharing. So they had brilliant panelists. Of course, Rajvedam was repeatedly mentioned because he has the ability to communicate in a very attractive manner. So we need all this. Khyane cha dakshavayam. See, we are really extraordinary in sharing this. Each one in the panel shared their feeling in a very exciting manner. So what I wanted to say was madbhagyopachayadayam samuditaha. It is my fortune that I have also been invited to share this certain thoughts. I am not going to say anything new. I am just going to sort of paraphrase what has been stated with certain other verses. I am gunanam ganaha. Understand? So ये अभी तो बढ़ने वाला है. So ये बोले 9 में नहीं होना चाहिए, 20 में होना चाहिए. So we'll all do that. Okay. The first talk. So my dear friend Mishra ji, he started with a very, very profound philosophy. All that we need to know is I am Atma. See, he just said in 2 words. So Atmanam vijanihi. This is all you need to know. ठीक है? So this is a very profound philosophy. I am not going to dwell on that. So let us leave that. The next talk. So I just heard very interesting aspects from Sri Rajiv Vasudevan of the profound thoughts that are available and the kind of philosophy with which the whole system of medicine has been built. We have been completely deprived of understanding it, and we have been, on the other hand, told that this is all meaningless. I mean, this is the summary and which he was trying to communicate, but the sound logical philosophical basis was brought out. Here I wanted to just tell you a few verses from our Charaka Samhita and Sushruta Samhita. One thing which have been repeatedly stated here by various people is that We need to understand it from multi-perspective. It's not that he was beautifully saying, we need not necessarily target that roga, the bullet shot, wo to dusra koi correct karega. So this is what is going to happen, but we need to address the issue from a larger perspective. For this has been brilliantly stated in our own literatures. He says, Ekam shastra madhiyanaha navidyat shastra nishchayam. Tasmad bahushrutaha shastram vijaniyat chikitsakaha. Chikitsakaha means the one who is practicing this profession. So it is not that he just has to have a very, very tunneled vision like a laser light. Ekam shastra madhiyanaha. He will not be able to have a much broader perspective, and therefore there will be a lot of problems. Navidyat shastra nishchayam. Therefore, tasmad bahushrutaha. Bahushrutaha means you have to learn several disciplines and how it sort of affects this. Bahubhya shrutaha is another point, of course, the professor was asking. So you have to learn from different things. I mean, I have been practicing here. See, the kind of gut that I have here, one who is born in Tamil Nadu, it will be different from Moscow, it will be different. Even within India, it will be very different. So therefore, nothing can be prescribed universally. So there are so many body mass indexes. I went to a certain conference in US. They were talking about the diabetes only for 2 days. And the conference was essentially, basically people were now declaring that BMI, if it is above 25, etc., I mean, you are going to be. But there are people who have 32, who have absolutely nothing. So there is nothing which can be prescribed universally. This is why he is saying, Ekam shastra madhiyanaha navidyat shastra nishchayam tasmad bahushrutaha shastram vijaniyat chikitsakaha. In fact, it further says, you have to first of all study thoroughly. Shastram guru mukhodgiranam. He was mentioning, you have to take the right book. Shastram guru mukhodgiranam. The one who has thoroughly understood, from him we have to learn. आदाय फर्स्ट ग्रहण में नहीं होता है. आजकल हम पढ़ाते हैं, सुनते नहीं हैं. वो आदाय मीन्स फर्स्ट हैविंग क्लियरली अंडरस्टूड. In fact, he was saying adhiti bodha acharana pracharani. Here Mishra was saying adaya. Then it says upasya cha asakrit. This word is extremely important. Upasya means having contemplated on it seriously, asakrit multiple times. Then only you will be able to appreciate whatever be the concept. Adaya upasya cha asakrit yah karma kurute vaidyaha. See, the one who then prescribes, he is to be declared as Vaidya. Who are the other fellows? Anyetu taskaraha. The other fellows are mere thieves. I mean, that is what it openly declares. Then, what is this Ayurveda? See, hita hitam sukham dukkham ayustasya hita hitam manancha tatra tacha yatroktam ayurveda savuchyate. Beautiful definition. Hita hitam sukham dukkham. So what is hita, what is ahita? Beneficial, what is going to be not beneficial? The same thing is not going to be beneficial for the other fellow. Hita hitam and sukham dukkham. Ayustasya hita. This needs an explanation for half an hour in itself. This has been brilliantly brought out what the summary of Ayurveda is in this verse. Tacha yatroktam ayurveda savuchyate. And then he further says, sharirendriya sattvatma sanyogaha. So this is in Sushruta. This is in Charaka Samhita. So sutra sthana. See, whatever is going to be taught or not, if the sutra sthana is taught to people who practice irrespective of the medicine that they are following, it will do a great service, I am telling you. The sutra sthana of Charaka Samhita and Sushruta Samhita are more than sufficient to make you a really better person irrespective. These are to be read by everybody. Unfortunately, even the people who are practicing Ayurveda, they have not been trained. In many institutes, I ask people, have you studied the original Sanskrit text? No. It's a shame. We are talking about trying to introduce to all people. In fact, it has to be introduced even in MD courses. Just understand the whole philosophical basis of what medicine is and how you have to be. So this is very important to understand. In fact, it is said, Iha khalo Ayurveda prayojanam. Sushruta Samhita says, Ayurveda prayojanam kim? Vyadhyupasrishtanam vyadhi parimoksha. Swasthasya swasthya rakshanam. Finished. So these are all some brilliant things which are there. So I'll just move further. In fact, it is further said, I'll just tell you. See, this is something which we need to understand. So, talking about the pramanas you are talking. Here it says, Tatra buddhiman nastikya buddhin jahyat. बुद्धिमान, इनफैक्ट अभी आप बता रहे थे ना श्री राम गुप्ता जी, बुद्धिमान है, आप तो बुद्धिमान हो गए 50 साल के बाद. बुद्धिमान नास्तिक्य बुद्धिं जह्यात, it says. So nastikya buddhi means this is something which is very important. It has a profound in fact, even if you take Kathopanishad, asti tyevopalabdhavyah tattvabhavena chobhayoh asti tyevopalabdhasya tattvabhavah prasidati. They are all very, very profound statements. Asti iti upalabdhavyah. Why he is saying, see, vichikitsancha kasmad jahyat. The question is, वो आप नास्तिक बुद्धि छोड़ दीजिए. क्यों छोड़ना है? मैं नहीं छोड़ूंगा. So he says, pratyaksham hi alpam. See, pratyaksham hi alpam. Analpam apratyaksham asti. Take even physics today, I am telling you, the universe that you can see is hardly 5%. Analpam apratyaksham asti. I mean, at a larger cosmological level, I am talking about even our own brain, how much has been understood the function of brain. Analpam apratyaksham asti. We may be inventing devices perfectly fine. I am all a scientist, I am a technologist, I am all for it. But then we have to have the larger understanding that our understanding is very limited. In fact, at the beginning of the 20th century, most physicists felt that we have discovered all laws of nature. And then came a great shock in 1960s and 70s when the chaos theory came. They talk about butterfly effect. Butterfly इधर wing करेगा तो वहाँ cyclone हो जाएगा. Not joke. I mean, that is how the body functions, I am telling you. So even in Ayurveda, so that is how the body functions. So it is a very large, complex thing. Analpam apratyaksham asti yat agama anumana yuktibhihi upalabhyate. In fact, he further goes on says, yaireva tavadindriyaihi pratyaksham upalabhyate tanyeva santihi apratyakshani. It's a beautiful statement. See, you talk about pratyaksha, 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 दिखाओ, दिखाओ. आप जिससे देखे हैं उसको देख सकते हैं क्या? ये इंद्रिय ही प्रत्यक्ष का प्रमाण है ना. वो इंद्रिय क्या है आप देख सकते हैं. यैरेव तावद् इंद्रियैः प्रत्यक्षम् उपलभ्यते तान्येव सन्ति अप्रत्यक्षाणि. So this is a kind of logically they just build the whole thing to make us understand and appreciate. And in fact, when Sri Raj Vedam was mentioning, he was saying that we have this knowledge, parampara, we need to go and trace back. In fact, in Aryabhatiyam, the last but one verse is, Sadasajnana samudrat samudhritam devata prasadena sajnanottamaratnam maya nimagnam swamatina va. This is what he says. It is not that I have given this book to you. I have just culled out. Sadasajnana samudrat. He says, I had the ocean in front of me. Samudhritam. I went inside. I dived inside the ocean using the intellect in the form of boat, and I just brought out to you a few gems. This is all he says. Sadasajnana samudrat samudhritam. And there again you see devata prasadena. He says, you don't have this arrogance. And devata prasada, what is devata prasada? In fact, the commentator asked this question, we need to know this. So when we say divine, 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 what does it mean? Devata prasadaha mati vaimalya hetureva. Natu brahma adityo va swayam agatya upadishet. See, when they say, it is not that I got it from Brahma means Brahma does not come in front of you and then give you instruction, you please write this verse. Mati vaimalya hetureva. And mati vaimalya hetu is very important. Everyone has to accept. But mati vaimalya, the clarity in thought, is it completely in your hands? The line of thinking that we need to take at a particular point of time, is it in your hands? In fact, there was a brilliant lecture given by one of the most, from the University of California. So he came and he was a specialist in game theory. So these people are sort of by the industrialists and so on. He just gave a talk for 1.5 hours, and then at the end of the talk, there was a question, and he said, I have to admit, though I am a consultant for 500 companies, but I have to admit that all my logic, etc., may fail. Somebody may go to Tirupati, offer something, make some prayer, and then take a decision that may be the best decision for the whole company. So it is so complex. That is all I'm trying to say. All that I'm trying to say is these are so complex things, and therefore we need not think that a solution has been already found by us, and there is no need to look into other domains of knowledge. This is completely wrong. So that is why Devata Prasadena Sajnanottama Ratnam Maya Nimagnam. So this also means that it doesn't mean that somebody else can go and find a better gem. And every astronomer has stated that this is not going to be the ultimate word of mine. This is something which is a continuously changing phenomenon, and therefore nothing is going to be constant for thousands of years. So this larger understanding has been there. Model is a model. It may work in a particular domain for a certain period of time. So in economics, it may change every 5 years, 10 years, and the one who got Nobel laureate may be trashed today, right? And this is such a complex system we need to understand. That is another point that he was trying to communicate. Then, of course, our Santosh Mishraji was quoting from Ishavasya Upanishad, Ishavasya midam sarvam tena tyaktena bhunjitha magrudha kasya svidhanam. So this is again a very, very profound thought, extremely profound thought. See, bhunjithaha actually there means palayethaha. See, the word bhunjithaha, one meaning is you eat, the other is you protect. In fact, you have to save yourself, palayethaha. By leaving the greed, may you protect yourself, and thereby you will be protecting the entire universe. See, that is why Gandhi said, there is enough for everyone's need, but not a single man's greed. In fact, that you have to be a contributor and not a mere consumer has been brilliantly brought out even in Bhagavad Gita. Yajnashishtashanas santaha muchyante sarvakilbishaihi. Bhunjate te tvagam papaha ye pachantyatma karanat. In fact, I really appreciate the generosity with which Sri Ram Gupta has come forward. See, अपने लिए रखे रखे क्या कुछ नहीं है. See, ma grudha kasya svidhanam. So all of you, some of you are from US. We all know the story of Rajat Gupta. तो ये तो greed से ऐसा होता है कभी कभी, right? So this is something which we need to avoid. So yajnashishta ashinas santaha muchyante sarvakilbishaihi. The moment you have this attitude, you will be freed from all sins. When I say all sins, so what we today in a different term call as something which is going to be harmful to the atmosphere, climate, etc., is what has been declared as papa here. Muchyante sarvakilbishaihi. Bhunjate tetu agham papaha. In fact, there cannot be a powerful statement. If you are just leading your life only as a consumer, then you are only doing sin. You are only eating sin. Ye pachanti atma karanat. These are all very powerful statements which we need to understand. So that was another point which was beautifully brought out by him. In fact, it is said, Atma upamyena sarvatra. In fact, this brilliantly brings out samanvaya of what was trying to be communicated by him and what our Sampadananda Mishraji was trying to communicate. It has Atma upamyena sarvatra samam pashyati Arjuna sukham va yadi va dukham sayogi paramo mataha. See, what more can be said? You have to see the entire universe just like you. In fact, the very definition of dharma is that Shruyatam dharma sarvasvam shrutva chaiva avadharyatam atmavat sarvabhutani. So this is what it states. Atmanaha pratikulani paresham na samachare. This is all dharma is. Anything that you feel that is likely to hurt you, you never do for others. This is all dharma. Over. Anything that is likely to hurt you, please don't do it for others. This is dharma. With this policy, will not the universe be a better universe? So this is all our scriptures have to say. And if children understand, it is only in others' happiness that your happiness lies. And if you think that Atma Upamyena, does anybody want to be hurt by anybody else? Then why would you hurt others? Does anybody want to be cheated oneself? If not, why do you cheat others? Simple, over. This is all dharma sarvasva, the concept of dharma. So the last thing, our Niti Ayog chairman Rajiv Kumar ji was very nicely saying, I will just say only one verse and I will leave it. There were very interesting things. He started with Sahaja Yoga. And Praman ke baare mein bhi bata rahe the. I'll just tell just one verse. In fact, he was talking. This was a nice term I liked. So, garage sale, wo bol rahe the. No, I'll just tell you there is a very beautiful verse. This is all I wanted to share. With that I will conclude because already we are waiting for lunch. There is a famous poet called Bhartrihari. Each verse is equivalent to some 200-page book. आजकल ऐसा ही होता है, ठीक है? एक छोटा सा चीज लेंगे, so you write some 20 pages, sometimes 200 pages. But they have been brilliantly put. अवश्यं यातारः चिरतरमुषित्वापि विषयाः वियोगे को भेदः त्यजति न जनो यत्स्वयममून् व्रजन्तः स्वातन्त्र्यात् अतुलपरितापाय मनसः स्वयं त्यक्ता ह्येते शमसुखमनन्तं विदधति. This we need to know. Avashyam yataraha means whatever you have accumulated is certainly going to depart from you, or you are going to depart from them, whatever it is. Avashyam yataraha, जो भी हमारा है वो संपत्ति वो तो वियोग होने वाला ही है. Chirataram, even if you enjoy for a long period, which may not be true, right? Chirataram ushitvapi vishayaha viyoge ko bhedaha. He asked this question that any association is going to end up with dissociation. Just understand this philosophy. Viyoge ko bhedaha. But you are not on yourself, by yourself, willing to share. But when it goes on its own, see, anyway it is going to separate. So now he is asking this question. Think about this a little bit. Tyajati na jano yat swayamamun vrajanta swatantriyat. On its own, suppose it goes. Atula paritapaya manasaha. Suppose, let us say, so our Sri Ram Gupta has given some 50 lakhs, let us say. Now 50 lakhs उनको कहीं खो गया तो उनका कितना दुख होगा. अभी इधर 50 lakhs दे दिए तो कितना सुख है. व्रजंत स्वातंत्र्यात् on their own अतुल परितापाय मनसः स्वयं त्यक्ता ह्येते. See, तेन त्यक्तेन भुञ्जीता स्वयं त्यक्ता ह्येते शमसुखमनन्तं विदधति. अनंतम, infinite happiness, no, not limited. I have done something for the sake of society. This can give you immense happiness. I have shared something. ये तो बचपन से ही हमें सिखाते थे. In fact, you are mentioning, no, Mishra ji. So आजकल खाने के लिए नहीं. So first thing that we were trained when we were school children, not even teenagers, if you make some bhakshanam, you just go and give it to everybody in the neighbor's house. Then only you start eating. The sharing is caring. Nothing more. So this has to be cultivated. Without our knowledge, it was cultivated. Hey, formality, hey, nahi lena, hey. We teach wrong things. So there was a book which I saw, bestseller, How to Say No. सिखाने की जरूरत क्या है? How to say yes, you have to teach. तो ऐसा है. So this is this pramana. So the pramana in Ayurveda in certain things there is, see just this मैं अभी बंद कर देता हूँ. यहाँ देखिए, so we talked about pratyaksha, anumana, upamana, shabda. This structure itself is not understood by people first of all. That the whole science is basically built upon pratyaksha and anumana. So we think so. But it is also Shabda, let me tell you. Those who are scientists who have thought about deeply, they understand that this is also Agama Pramana is there. Anyway, there is another Pramana which people generally talk about. This is called Anyathanupapatti. Okay, in Ayurveda, etc., we have to primarily invoke this and then try to make. In fact, this is something which is used by us. And a beautiful structure has been created. There is one verse which talks about 6 pramanas, 8 pramanas, and even 10 pramanas. Who are so charvakaha tavad ekam, and then we go up to 10. Essentially, pramana is the analysis that is being taught is how you know what you know. Right? How do we know what we know? This is all the whole analysis is. Now, this anyathanupapatti is like this. Suppose I had locked my office and then I went home. So a laptop was in the table and then I know only one person has entered from the camera. So laptop is missing. Aapne nahi dekha. This is called anyathanupapatti. So we have to just conclude that this fellow has taken. Anyathanupapattischet astu vastu prasadhika pinashtya drishti vaimatyam saiva sarva baladhika. Why am I saying that this works? So how does it work, etc., etc., is something, but this is something which is very important for us to understand, that this pramana structure itself has to be understood and taught by people. Then many people will not even open mouth. Yeah, assembly में सभी चिल्लाते हैं. See, so this logic and epistemology has to be taught to people, how to conduct themselves properly and when to accept defeat. So these are all things which are very, very important. And there are several disciplines which has to be taught. Abhi ye Shri Ram Gupta ji ne jo bataya. In order to build a certain pride and self-esteem, we need to first learn what is there. And then, how this is relevant, etc., that has to be necessarily taught. And how to conduct oneself, what should be the vision of life, for that we need to understand this. How to conduct properly, see, in a discourse, so that, the meaningful things can come out. How to think properly. How to think properly. Even for this, we need a certain training. Once that training is there, then thought process will naturally go that way. In fact, recently when I went to June I was in America, there people were literally crying to me. I'm not joking. We have lost our children because they have started thinking in wrong direction. Literally, I'm not joking. Because once the line of thinking has been lost, then we have lost them. Nobody is happy. By physical wealth, where is the happiness? It is the bonding, it is the caring that we need to build. So for this, there is a lot to learn from our Indian knowledge system. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. Namaste.